Welcome to the Tuesday show, which really should be called the Wednesday show because I record on Tuesdays and it releases on Wednesdays, so a technicality, it's technically a Wednesday show. But that's neither here nor there. Today we have news from the Nintendo Switch 2, which games are coming to it and when it's going to be announced. Also, Shadow Colossus movie is on the horizon and has a script already. And also, AI. You can't escape AI, it's everywhere, it's annoying. But yeah, so before we get into that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and watch the video all the way through. Let's get into it. If I had $1 for every single time that I had to either read AI from the research of doing one of these videos, say AI when it comes to making these videos, or any of those, I'd probably be a millionaire. And with CES on the horizon, I am more than likely a multi-millionaire because the AI craze is not going anywhere. CES had AI mentioned so many times. It was probably the overwhelming thing that was mentioned at CES more than anything. It was the AI features that a lot of these technological things are going to have inside of them. And like, it's not going away, it's not going anywhere. It's going to keep being annoying and probably be AI in your refrigerator. If I'm not mistaken, there was a CES refrigerator that had AI in it, and like to tell you like what kind of foods you should eat or shouldn't, or how to do certain recipes. But they're trying to fix things that are kind of unfixable, were thought to be unfixable. One of those things is latency, and latency is really a big thing, especially with frame generation, and also with having online games that you play. Like, the lag is inevitable. We're limited by our technology to try to fix our internet in order to not have any latency, especially when it comes to terrain, of having internet for different people or high quality internet because of different people. It's a difficult thing to try to accomplish, but one way that they're trying to fix it is with new Sony pen could use AI and a camera pointed at your fingers to work out what button you'll press next. A new patent filed by Sony has detailed how the company may plan to cut down on latency in the future hardware by using AI model aided by additional sensors. Sony introduced its first official upscaler PlayStation Special Resolution (PSSR) with the PlayStation 5 Pro. While the upscaler can upscale smaller resolutions to 4K, newer graphics technologies such as frame generation can come at a cost of additional latency. This means that while you are getting additional frames, your games may not feel quite as responsive as a result. So the only problem with generating extra frames with something that's 30 frames per second up to 100 frames per second and with AI is that there's going to be a lag there. You're going to feel the lag, and it's going to be feeling like you're at least a second or a millisecond behind to the game that you're playing, which isn't bad for most people, but for people who can notice it, it really does hurt, and it really doesn't feel very good or responsive. And this also happens with lag with online game. If you're trying to stream a game from your phone or from your PlayStation Portable Go or your Steam Deck, you're gonna feel the lag, and it just depends if you have good enough internet at that moment, because you know how internet fluctuates in this country. Sony's rationale for the filing reads, there can be latency between the user's input action and the system's subsequent processing and execution of the command. This in turn results in delay, execution of command, and unintended consequences in the game itself. Yeah, we've all been there when we lag a little bit, and unfortunately because of that lag you got killed by multiplayer in Fortnite, or also because of the fact that the game itself is not doing the frames properly outside of the internet, and you die because you didn't get that millisecond that you needed in Dark Souls or Bloodborne or any of those type of games that require precise timing. The solution is described as having several parts running in conjunction: a machine learning AI model designed to predict what input you are going to receive next, an external sensor with an example of a camera pointed at your controller to determine which input you are getting ready to press. In one particular example, the method may include providing camera input as an input to the machine learning ML model. The camera input may indicate the first user command. Another potential use includes the sensors being the controller button itself. Considering that Sony has been champion for analog buttons in the past, the company may use them in a next generation controller. While the technology as described in the patent might not make its way exactly as described in the PlayStation 6, filings like these hardly ever do, It clearly shows that the company is looking to adopt similar technologies to cut down on latency without games feeling less responsive, especially considering the popularity of rendering tech like FSR3 and DLSS3, which addition frame latency on whatever system they run on. This will most likely benefit real-world scenarios like Twitch shooters, which require both high frame rates and low latency, but whether or not this pattern gets used in the future, hardware remains to be seen. So, more than likely, this is something that you're going to see with the PS6 when it comes out. This is going to be a real solution to try to combat latency and also latency on frame generation. So, like, this isn't going away. AI is not going anywhere. It's only the beginning when it comes to video games and when it comes to technology like GPUs and anything from cars to like your dog. There's probably some kind of dog AI that we don't know about that they put on the dogs and they're like, oh, he needs to take a dump now. And like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it that that's the thing. But yeah, AI is not going anywhere. If it's annoying you, it's going to be annoying you for the next foreseeable future. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you think AI is a bubble, what do you think it's going to happen? What do you think of this technology? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. So this one feels like it was inevitable. If you've been watching this show from the very beginning that we started, we've been talking about Xbox more than likely going to make their IPs multi-platform in the near future. But it looks like that thing that I've been saying is going to happen sooner than we thought. Halo finally looks set to make the jump to PlayStation this year. Microsoft is soonly ready to launch its flagship Xbox video game series Halo on rival platforms for the first time, including PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch too. Oh, by the way, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, so don't go anywhere. Leaker Nate the Hate, who this week reported that Nintendo is set to reveal the Switch 2 on January 16th, also reported in a separate podcast that Microsoft will finally bring Halo to PlayStation in the form of a PlayStation 5 port of Halo, the Master Chief Collection, as well as release on the Switch 2. Microsoft declined to comment when contacted by IGN. While Microsoft's multi-platform video game strategy is well documented at this stage, Halo was seen as the final frontier. However, perhaps the famous first-person shooter's flight from Xbox shouldn't come as a surprise. Last year's Microsoft gaming chief Phil Spencer said there were no red lines in its first-party lineup when it came to going multi-platform, and that included Halo. Speaking to Bloomberg, Spencer said every Xbox game is up for grabs when it comes to making the multi-platform jump. I do not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not, he said. Microsoft has so far used older games released over a year ago for its multi-platform push, as opposed to brand new games, but that will soon change with Indiana Jones and The Great Circle, which comes out on PS5. Just a few months ago, after the launch on Xbox and PC, Indiana Jones is its latest first-party game to make the jump to rival console and follows multi-platform release of Obsidian's Lamented and Grounded, Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush, and Rare's Sea of Thieves. Earlier in 2024, Microsoft announced ID Software upcoming Doom: The Dark Ages will also launch on the PS5 this year. Spencer has said multi-platform push is part about bringing in more money to Microsoft's gaming business, with the pressure now to deliver following its eye-watering $69 billion acquisition of Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard. We run a business, Spencer said in August. It's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of delivery. We have to give back to the company because we get a level of support from the company that's just been amazing, and we're able to go do because we get the level of support from the company that's just amazing and what we're able to go do. So I look at this, how can we make games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow on console and on PC and on cloud. It's just going to be a strategy that works for us. Look, man, I said this from the very beginning of the acquisition with Bethesda and with Activision Blizzard. If this were PlayStation more than likely would be making those games exclusive. But the unfortunate thing is, who is Microsoft gonna sell it to? Like, the main people, like, if you look at how many consoles are sold right now in the wild, it's PC, of course, everybody has a PC. It's PlayStation 5 and it's Nintendo Switch that everybody's gaming on right now, and the PS4 and the Switch. So, like, That's a big piece of the pie to leave out there. Now, if it were PlayStation and PlayStation were like, look, we're going to put these games directly on PlayStation and on PC at the same time, and that way everybody can play, it would make so much more sense. But unfortunately, because Xbox has been kind of lagging in the business of console and kind of making every mistake that you could possibly make, and only really making a good Game Pass, which not enough people are buying, it only makes sense that this would be the way that Microsoft has to go. They have to make their games multi-platform. They have to put their games on the Nintendo Switch 2. They have to put their games on PlayStation. They have to, because they have to make back the amount of money that they essentially spent on trying to revive the Xbox console. Now, originally, this more than likely was a deal that they got passed because they wanted to make this deal in order to put it on Game Pass and make that more of a thing that people buy. But unfortunately, not enough people are buying Game Pass, and because of that, they have to make up that money somehow. And originally, this was probably going to be a thing where they're like, yeah, you can only play these games on Xbox, and on Game Pass, they're for free. More than likely, what was going to happen, I believe Phil Spencer, that's what he wanted. But unfortunately, when the big Eye of Sauron came on Phil Spencer in the Xbox division, they were going to see that they're kind of laggy behind the competition. They're not a serious console creator because of the fact that they've been fumbling for so long. And because of that, they're more than likely going to go multi-platform. And it's all but done that it's going to happen. And this quote proves it. As former Xbox executive Peter Moore told IGN last year, bringing Halo to PlayStation will have been a topic of discussion at Microsoft for some time. Look, if Microsoft says, wait, we're doing $250 million on our own platforms, but if we took Halo as is, let's call it a third party, we could do $1 billion. You got to think long and hard about that, right? Moore said. I mean, you just gotta go, yeah, should it be kept? It's a piece of intellectual property. It's bigger than just a game. And how do you leverage that? Those are the conversations that always happen with how do you leverage it in everything that we would do. It had its ups and downs, but look, Xbox wouldn't be what Xbox is without Halo. But yeah, I'm sure those conversations are happening. Whether they come to fruition, who knows? But they definitely are happening, I'm sure. Microsoft does face potential backlash from the hardcore Xbox fans who are already disgruntled after what they feel is devaluing of the Xbox as a console. The lack of exclusive and Xbox marketing strategy for its gaming business losing Halo to PlayStation could spark yet another angry response. But Moore told IGN that it won't deter Microsoft from doing what's right for business. The question would ultimately be, is that reaction enough not to make a fundamental business decision for the future of not only Microsoft's business, but gaming itself? Moore said, those hardcore are getting smaller in size and older in age. You got to cater to the newer generations that are coming through, because they're going to drive the business over the next 10 to 20 years. Halo isn't alone in coming to PS5 and the Switch. Nate the Hate reported Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is also coming to the PS5 and the Switch too. Windows Central additionally reported that Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition, Hellblade 2, and The Age of Mythology are coming to the PS5 in 2025. The question now is, does Halo the Master Chief Collection, released on the PS5 and the Switch 2, open the door to other Halo games also going multi-platform? Could the next big Halo game launch across all platforms? Last year, tech experts said Halo's move to Unreal Engine 5 would make it easier for developer Halo Studios 343 Industries to make the game on the PS5. Yeah, man, the writing's on the wall. Them picking up the whole franchise into Unreal 5 and kind of just because making an engine is a lot harder than people give it credit. It takes at least 3 or 4 years to make a good engine that you're going to use for the future, and doing that almost every other generation is a lot of time unless you have expertise in it, which Xbox isn't really good when it comes to really expertise in optimizing their technology. It's just the truth that they really have never really been good at it. But them moving to Unreal Engine 5 kind of just makes it a lot easier and more likely that this is going to happen. I expect that Halo is going to be on the PS5 and the Switch too. I honestly thought that it would wait at least to the PS6, but I'm more than sure that it's going to happen. and it's gonna happen very soon. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts about Halo more than likely coming to the Switch and the PS5. If there's a game that kind of says actions are louder than words, that is Shadow of the Colossus. And when they rumored that a movie was going to be made in the near future, I was, of course, extremely excited, because if you want a beautiful experience in a video game, play Shadow of the Colossus, the original game, and even that one or the remake are both equally a religious experience in terms of video games and just showing, not telling, or yeah, you know how they say show don't tell. This game is very much that type of game. It hardly has any dialogue in it, and the bosses don't really talk to you. You kind of are just a guy who's on his own trying to find Colossus. And as a movie, it sounds like it would be an extremely beautiful movie. Shadow of the Colossus movie is still in the works, says director. The long in development Shadow of the Colossus movie may still have a shot at life. According to recent comments made by director Andy, and I can't pronounce his last name because I will mess it up, revived hopes for the film adaptation of the classic Futomoto Oda video game during a chat with Radio EU. It's not much, but after about a decade without any solid updates, it at least sounds like a feature-length film version of Wanderer and Argo's story could still come to be. Director Andy says that there's still hope for Shadow of the Colossus movie. I'm not a big gamer, but Shadow of the Colossus seems to be a masterpiece, and I played it several times, Andy explained. The movie has been in development for 10 years, and now the possibility of making it opens up. He continued doubling down on his desire to bring Shadow of the Colossus movie to the big screen by saying that it is not an abandoned project. It's unclear why exactly it's taken more than a decade to get the film out of the door, but Andy did at least talk a bit about why it's taking so long to come to fruition. For example, creating a good movie version of the story involves working with Sony to determine its budget, he said. There are different versions of the film. Obviously, I want them to give me $200 million, but this is another factor to take into account. I love that movie. There's a script that I really like, but there are factors that have to do not with your hobby and desire to make it, but with how popular an intellectual property like this is. A film based on the classic giant-slaying PS2 title first reared its head in 2009 when The Hollywood Reporter that Sony Pictures' Kevin Mister and now Shogun writer Justin Marks had been tapped to work on the project. While Chronicles' Josh Trank originally been picked to direct, Sony would eventually land on it and the Flash director Andy to lead the films. That was in 2014, and the updates have been few and far between since. Still, 10 years later, today's news suggests there may be a chance for the movie to emerge. Just don't expect us to see it anytime soon, while the team at Sony works out all the details. Perhaps more likely at this stage are movies based on Helldivers 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn 2. It's a little sad, but the truth is that Shadow of the Colossus isn't as popular as it nearly should be. It's more than likely sold like close to 10 million copies. That's with the original game, the remake, and then the remaster. All those in total is probably sold 10 million copies, which isn't exactly like gives you like solitude that this is going to be like Sonic the Hedgehog, where like you make at least $500 million and you spend like maybe $90 million on the whole project yourself. There has to be an audience that they want to get, and I don't blame them for not dropping like $200 million on this. And then the things that Sony have been like spending money on recently, and the reason why they're doing it like with a whole like their full own MCU like Spider Universe that they were trying to make in order to keep the intellectual properties of different characters. Like, this is a very sound and smart move. It's good to think it out. It's good to see that how you would make this movie for maybe $100 million, maybe $98 million, but $200 million. I don't blame them for being a little bit hesitant on that. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you excited that there may be a Shadow of the Colossus movie? Do you think it'll ever come out? Let me know in the comments below. At this point, Nintendo just needs to announce a Nintendo Switch 2, because we already know when it's going to be announced. Like, we already know it's been a thing, and we already know what's inside of it. We know how it looks. Nintendo Switch 2 revealed release date, reportedly leaked online on long release window. Nintendo's reveal plan for the Switch 2 has reportedly been leaked online. Leaker Nate DeHay was the first to report that Nintendo allegedly plans to reveal the Switch 2 this week, on January 16th. This will allegedly come in a form of a hardware-focused trailer rather than a launch lineup reveal. That will reportedly come via a software-focused direct later in February or early March. VGC corroborated the report, as did The Verge. Tom Warren. IGN has asked Nintendo for comment. Nate DeHay added that the Switch 2 may launch on May or June 2025, a release window that VGC corroborated. A new Mario Kart is said to be set for launch, with a 3D Mario following in the holiday 2025. Other games reportedly set for the Switch 2 include Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Mirage and Final Fantasy VII Remake. The Switch 2 leaks have come thick and fast in the recent week, with CES 2025 featuring a high-profile mock-up from accessories marker Ginkai that reportedly sparked the interest of Nintendo's lawyers. While the mock-up did appear to add significant weight to the growing pool of past leaks on what the Switch 2 will be, Nintendo has yet to officially reveal anything about the system, and these claims are subject to change or total debunking. A formal announcement is expected in the first quarter of this year. Reports suggest the Joy-Con's alleged sensor may be used to turn the controller into a mouse. Meanwhile, alleged retail listings for the Switch 2's microSD express cards has suggested that the console supports the newer standard of SD cards in 256GB and 512GB form. Following the appearance of alleged images of Nintendo Switch 2's internals, fresh images alleged showing the next generation console Joy-Con appeared online this month. These new Joy-Con alleged ditched the rail lock method used by the current Nintendo Switch in favor of electromagnetic suction controllers. So you get the point. Almost every single aspect about this console has leaked. Even like how strong it is leaked. It's supposedly going to be 1 teraflop of power when it's not docked, and when it is docked, it's going to be about 3 terabytes, which is around kind of like the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4 Pro, and a little weaker, but they'll have DLSS to make up for it in order to try to like kind of fake it before you make it. And if it's not everything that we know about the console, we also know all the games that are going to be coming to the console as well. All the games reported set for release on the Nintendo Switch 2. Following yesterday's reports that Nintendo Switch reveal plan for the Switch 2, a number of games were alleged to be set for the unannounced next-generation console. Leaker Nate DeHay, who was first to publish Nintendo's alleged Switch 2 reveal release date via their podcast, speculated that a new Mario Kart will launch alongside the console itself in May or June. With a 3D Mario set for the holidays 2025, IGN has asked Nintendo for comment. Third-party games alleged for the Switch 2 from Square Enix include Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. According to Nate DeHay, a number of Switch games are coming from Ubisoft, including a port from Assassin's Creed Mirage in the console's launch window. The upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadow is currently only down for release on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Is also reportedly coming to the Switch 2, although at a later date outside the launch window. Other Ubisoft ports alleged include games from the Division series and the Rainbow Six Saga. The Mario Kart Plus Rabbids games are also reportedly coming to the Switch 2, potentially in a single package, which wouldn't come as much as a surprise given the Nintendo link and previous comments from Ubisoft boss. I cannot pronounce his name because it's in French. Nate DeHay also reported that Konami is preparing a Switch 2 port of Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is due at some point this year. Nate DeHay suggests they may launch a day and date on Switch 2. A previous podcast, Nate DeHay said a number of games are coming to the Switch 2, including Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and Halo the Master Chief Collection. Windows Central Jez Corden subsequently corroborated that report, saying it's likely that most, if not all, Xbox games will launch on the Switch 2 if the console is able to run them well enough. We can make some informed speculations about what to expect on the Switch 2. It seems likely that games Nintendo has announced as coming to the Switch this year and beyond will also make their way on the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4, for example, is a safe bet, as a Pokemon Legends Z through A, and Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. The question is, will the games look and play significantly better on the Switch 2 compared to the Switch? To be honest with you, like, there's a reason why this is the main story. The Switch 2 is going to be probably top of the line, like, kind of what you can get in a portable console at the moment. Right now, like, what you can package in a $299 or $399 package of, like, a portable device. So the Switch 2 is going to be top of the line when it comes to that. Now, is it going to be top of the line in graphics? Unfortunately not. But if you look at the PlayStation 4 Pro's video games, they're really not all that bad. They're nice looking video games. They're games that I can get behind. They're games that that are respectable, that are good looking. Some games from the PlayStation 4 Pro still look better than some games on the PS5. That's how much power was used and utilized in that generation for PlayStation. Nintendo's amazing when it comes to optimizing their technology and push it further than limits that anyone thought they could be. To be real, Breath of the Wild seems like a game that wouldn't run properly on a Switch device, but it does. It has some frame drops here and there, but it still looks really good. It's probably one of the best looking games on the Switch to this day. And yeah, like it's a Nintendo is going to get every ounce of power out of this console that they can. Not to mention they're working with a lot more than what they are usually used to working with the past couple of generations. I know a lot of people like to bring up the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, but like, bro, we're like almost 30 years away from them actually having the most powerful console on the market. They're gonna have the most powerful handheld console on the market that has like a bunch of Nintendo AAA games. And yeah, it might not stay the most powerful handheld, but it's gonna be. And I expect them to pull every juice that they can out of that console. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think Nintendo is going to do with this console? Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to buy one? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, you're pretty good. And you got like a rock. It's supposed to be good for your teeth, like for like minerals and stuff. But like, damn, I don't think I'm able to be doing this with my feelings.